Time for the next educational video. Today we are talking about Bitcoin CME futures, what it is, what it means to you, and how to trade it. First of all, what is Bitcoin CME futures? If you look on TradingView, you can find this ticker. It's BTC1 exclamation point. I know it's a little weird. Put it in your favorites. Put it on your watch list. It's hugely important. What is it? Well, it is a futures only, as the name explains, trading exchange for rich people. Rich boys like to use it. It's not for you and me because we're not rich. So, 5 Bitcoin minimum contract. So unless you're able to do a futures trade of 5 Bitcoin, which is a lot of money, you're not going to be using this exchange. There are workarounds. There are some brokers that will pile a bunch of poor people together and mash them into one order. I don't personally think that's the greatest idea ever. I would like to have my own trades that are not piled in with a bunch of other people's trades. But that's just me. If you are interested, you can look into it. I am not going to provide a link to such a service because I think they're scams and I don't want you to get involved in them. Anywho, moving right along. CME stands for Chicago Mercantile Exchange. It's not a physical place. It's an exchange, just like Binance, all that good stuff. So it's not like there's a bunch of old white dudes sitting in a room around a conference table. How do we screw all the poor people? That's not how it works. It's just another exchange. But I always call it the rich boy playground. So it is open 6 days a week. It's a little weird. And it also closes a day, or every day for an hour at 6 o'clock p.m. and reopens at 7 o'clock p.m. And it does form little gaps when it does close. You can see how there's a gap here. It closes every day, and it does form a little gap, but we're not really worried about that gap, right? We're worried about this gap right here. Look at this monster right here and the trade that was able to take to clear it. So why does this happen? Why does this gap happen? Well, when it closes, the Bitcoin price is still moving. Bitcoin index, for example, where these prices are come from. Now, certain exchanges can push the price. We'll get a little bit more into that later. However, when it closes Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. and reopens Sunday at 6 o'clock p.m., there's a gap in price because the price shifted on Bitcoin index from all the other exchanges out there pushing price, and it creates a gap. This happens in stocks as well. If we check the S&P 500, we can see a clear gap right here that was mitigated the very next day. Same thing on the Bitcoin CME chart. This one took 1 day. Was it 1 day? A couple days. This one took a couple days to mitigate. Sometimes they take 1 day. Sometimes they mitigate the same day. And sometimes, like back here, they take about a week to mitigate. So when we're looking for trades, we're not necessarily jumping right to it. We want to make sure price is heading towards it first. We'll get a little bit more into that later. So why are there two values, right? So we're looking at the hourly chart. We can clearly see that the price closed at 44,790. But I have this line here at 44,655. Well, if we go up to a daily time frame, we see now that the price stopped at 44,000. Why? What does that mean? How did that happen? So this is actually a volume weighted average, or a VWAP price. So what that means is where the volume was on that day. So if let's look at, we're looking at the 25th, right? So let's actually draw a fixed range volume profile. Get out of here, little thing. We're going to do it for that day. So 25 to 24. Look at that, baby. The POC lines right on the price. Can't make this shit up, right? Didn't pre-plan it. Trust me, this is live. This is happening today. And I decided to make this video. Did not draw this before the video. This is going to happen pretty much every single time because this is the point of control. If you don't know what this tool is and what the point of control is, please watch my volume profile video in the description below because it's a very, very powerful video that's going to up your game significantly. So what is this? Just quick rundown what this means. This is where all of the volume was for this day, right? Not all of it, but the most of the volume was for this day. So they mark a line there. The idea is there's two gaps, right? So let's go take a look at a clean chart where I marked those gaps. So here you can see we are on a clean chart. I've marked the two gaps here. We have the volume weighted gap for the daily, and then we have our regular CME gap for the hourly, right, where it actually closed. As you can see here, this is the Bitcoin index, so it might look a little bit different, but these are good for Confluence. We're probably looking to come down here today, and then if we have a good reaction off of this trend line here at about 44,300, I'm probably going to be looking to long that to this gap here. I'd like a little bit more Confluence than that, but that would be a third tap on this line. I would feel pretty confident with that trade. So that's how I will be looking to trade this gap. The thing about this gap does not have to be filled the same day. It could be filled the next day. It could be filled a week later, like we saw. Hold on, let me go back to there. Like we saw over here. This took a week to fill, right? Some of them cleared just a couple days later, like we saw here. As we can see here, same basic setup, right? There's a little trend line. Price came down and then came back up. We technically could have longed from here. It would have gotten a little hairy, but that long would have filled, right? So we're looking for price to start heading towards the gap. We're going to TP at the end of the gap, not the beginning of the gap, because that's what we're doing. And then we're going from there. So coming down here, coming back up here, we are looking to clear this. Why? Why does price return to the gap? Well, let's once again go back. Whoops. Let's once again go back to here. Let's say you're a rich boy and you have 100 BTC in a long right here because you thought this was a bull flag and you thought price was going to do this. So you're long here, or maybe you're long from right like down here or something, and then your TP was up here, which it would have happened, but price dipped a little bit. Then it closed. Then you have no control over the price, right? Because it closes. You can't do any orders on CME when it's closed. Just like in stock market, you're done. You have to wait till it reopens. Well, it reopened down here, and then it continued down, right? These rich boys don't want to get left out in the water. They want this shit to be fixed, right? So they're going to start to push the price up on their exchange to make it happen. And that's exactly what happened. We formed an uptrend. We cleared that gap. Their orders were not screwed, and it even went all the way up here, and they got their TP that they wanted. So that is why the CME gap is cleared. They're rich. They're going to put in orders. They're going to make it happen. And 9 times out of 10, the CME gap is cleared that week. However, it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. If we look at the weekly chart, we're going to see a gap all the way down here back in December of 2020, right? Yeah, December of 2020. There's a gap. There's a huge gap here. That's a significant price difference. Over $1,000 price difference right here. That's huge. And this was never, ever, ever mitigated. So keep in mind, CME gap not guaranteed to be cleared. Not guaranteed to be cleared. Could happen, but the longer you go, what is this, a year and a half? The longer you go away from this, the less valid it becomes. Similar to naked point of controls in the volume profile video that I talked about, the longer away you go, the less relevant that trade becomes. All right, so we're back here on our Bitcoin index chart. I'm watching the price here. I will likely go long if we get to about 44,300. I do believe that's what happens today. I'm probably looking to go long if we have a nice reaction here to get a trade up to here. It's not a game-breaking trade, right? Let's say about right here. What is it? 1%? Yeah, it's about 1%. So it's not a game-breaking trade. It's more or less scalp. It does have a nice RR. It's got a risk reward of 4, which is pretty good. But it is only a 1% move. So I'm not going to be I'm not going to be buying a Lamborghini with the trade. However, anytime you get a trade like this, you should feel pretty good about it. I will TP right at 44. I'll probably go just under 44,680 instead of exactly at 44,690. There's a very strong possibility that we wick to this and then dump. Very strong possibility. This is in my opinion, this is a bearish pattern. I do believe when we go up here, we're going to be coming back down. But that, my friends, is up to you to decide on your own trades. I am not a financial advisor. I am just telling you what I plan to do. Not all trades work out. Even the best TA is not guaranteed. Keep that in mind whenever you do anything. The more confluence you have, the better your trade. And that, my friends, is going to do it. I talked about in previous videos how we have free signals on our Discord server. Link in the description below. I strongly recommend you come by. It'll eventually be behind a paywall, but for now, it's free until we have 100 members that aren't management, and we are still a long way to go to get there. The signals are fire. Come on into our Discord server. Have a chat with me, especially if this was confusing to you, or leave a comment in the comment section below asking more questions. I am happy to answer. Remember, leave a like before you go, as it greatly helps the channel. And subscribe for more. I will be doing lots of videos like this in the coming weeks and the coming months and the coming years. And that, my friends, is going to do it. Thank you so very much for watching. And as always, take it easy.